Hey gang, welcome back to Bullfrog Pawn Shop. Today I'm going to be taking my fretboard radiusing drum sander for a test drive. Previous video, linked to up here, I used a router jig to cut a 12-inch radius profile in this drum, and that worked out really well. And off camera I glued some sandpaper strips here. I'll give you a closer look at that in a second. And then, so today I'm going to attach this to my shop-built drum sander. Link to that up here as well. And see how it works. Let's get into it. So as mentioned in the previous video, I cut this radius shape. You can see it a little bit right here. And then I did a little hand sanding on that, and then I put 2 coats of clear finish just to seal the wood. After that I used regular weldwood contact cement, and I put 2 coats of that on the drum as well. And then these little strips of sandpaper were cut from a handheld belt sanding belt. This is 80 grit, and they received 2 coats of weldwood contact cement. I spaced them equally around the drum. And then I wrapped some twine around this overnight just to make sure that was all nice and tight, because this thing, because you have a curve in 2 directions, this way and this way, the sandpaper does not sit flat. It has to actually flex a little bit. So that's the purpose of the twine. So I'm going to take this off here, and oh yeah, there we go. And it looks like the sandpaper is stuck on there nicely. I can still see, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, see my center line there. I'm going to try to remark that on there before I sand, because that's critical, as you know. So let's take this off the machine and set up the drum sander with this drum. Okay, so I took a permanent pen marker and just went over my center line on this, and you can see that when the machine's running, it shows up really nicely. And so I've also marked a center line on my sample piece here, my test piece. So all I have to do is line this up with my little T-square / miter gauge. Line up those center lines, and that looks pretty good. And then clamp this in place. And as you can see, I didn't plan very well. My drum sander has 3 dust ports. Any one can be used, whichever area of the drum you're sanding on. And I didn't plan real well. This thing is right between 2 of the dust ports. I have found that it doesn't really matter which dust port you use when you're drum sanding, so I'm guessing it'll be okay. how the sandpaper's holding up here. Appears to be holding up nicely. All right, proceed. Okay, so there's my radius. See that? It appears to be a hair higher on this side than it is on this side. I did have my center line pretty much lined up nicely, so I'm going to try running it through the opposite direction, flipped around. See if that'll... clean that up a little bit. Still looks a hair higher. I'm going to adjust my cut. That looks like a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, the sweet smell of success. Well, I'm pretty happy with the results of that. Definitely a viable method for me to radius fretboards. Certainly need to make a few tweaks to my process and my methods, but I think this is going to work. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click that bell to get future notifications for future Bullfrog Pawn Shop videos.